How the defenders, Cunningham South goes first. That causes problems for Martin because he doesn't want to leave Ellis Genge, but he's already been left by Cunningham South. And that means he almost gets caught in no man's land in between the two defenders. That gives the dog leg, but just that subtle movement from Williams, and then once he bursts through, there aren't many better balanced runners in the game than Williams, and what a finish that is. Doesn't get a hand on him.
That step as well, that was lovely.
Well, he did Stewart with his eyes. Stewart's got to do better there. He has seen other guys around, but he's got to take the ball carry if he gets the chance. He got sidestepped with Williams' eyes there.
Slightholm got there first, and then it was Khaleesi, and then the ball beating Lawrence into touch.
If that stays in from Van Poortvliet, I think Lawrence scores that. Lawrence makes the call, but Van Poortvliet just puts too much on it. Diolande wasn't going to get back there. It was whether the cover from the back was going to be able to get there. I'm not sure it would have done. A bit of a let-off for the Springboks.
Thank you.
Let's see how competitive England are at this lineup. They can afford to throw bodies in the air. Maybe a Toje at the front.
That's the one.
Putting some pressure on Bongi and Benembi.
The last thing England want to give away is a cheap free kick here. Allow South Africa out without having to work for it. It's a little bit unstructured, that from South Africa. They need to recover, get some bodies over the ball, set a good platform for this clearance.
It's gone back.
England chasing, South Africa clearing. Slightholm fumbling, but not fatally. Stewart. Oh, Stewart makes good ground, and white shirts there to recycle quickly. The speed of England's recycling, one of the troubling aspects for Steve Borthwick last week, as South Africa work hard over that ball, try and slow things down for England.
They're just guilty of going too far past the breakdown with their clear out, which allows Pieter-Steph du Toit to come round.
Okay, no more.
It's just a penalty. It's clearly a rough. Yeah, the ref say no more. And then he can't help himself. Big left mitt comes over the top.
It's Ben Earl over the ball. Ellis Genge comes as well, but two men over the ball, theoretically on their feet. They were when Pieter-Steph du Toit first comes in.
Just there, sorry, Marcus.
Only thing I'd like a little bit more from England is that tip-on pass. We saw Ellis Genge carrying there, but almost looking outside him, but then tucking and going himself. England are well down on the passes compared to every other team in this Autumn Nation Series.
Marcus Smith has been working so hard on his kicking since he had an off evening against the All Blacks in Dunedin in the summer. And he's got Lee Halfpenny to listen to at Harlequins these days. Nick Evans as well, of course, the great All Black part of the coaching team. Johnny Wilkinson comes into Pennyhill Park each week with England. Been working hard on his breathing, making sure that he's controlling the heart rate, making sure he is in complete control for times like this. And England back ahead, 10-7. That job of goal kicking, Ben, is a bit like the job of the hooker throwing it at the line out. You've been charging around like an idiot for 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden you've got to get that heart rate down to as
close skill.
Yeah.
Goal kicking even more so.
Back off England.
Toje didn't gather it cleanly, but Saracens clubmate Ben Earl was there. Van Poortvliet charged down by Etzebeth, and Smith got his mate out of jail, but then England give it away again, and this might be a try! Pieter-Steph du Toit. And the perils of kicking when you're under pressure.
You can't really blame Marcus Smith. We know that teams are now no longer allowed to put blockers who aren't bound at the maul, and Etzebeth, one of the very best. He's onside there. He sees the dip and he goes, and he does what all good charge down players do, gets his hands as close to the kicking foot as possible. Ignore the ball, don't try and jump up in the air, just get as close as possible. And then Pieter-Steph du Toit Brilliant control to get his hands on the ball, and then the ball bobbles exactly how he would have wanted, and he wins the race there.
I'm sure Austin will want to talk about how hard the scrum half's job is these days without those blockers around the rucks. Meantime, conversion off the posts, but it's a devil of a job to clear your lines these days.
You know it's coming, Nick. And all you have to do, if you see there's a lot of people near you, he's offside. He's just offside for me.
I don't think he is.
I'd love to see it again, because I think before the ball's lifted, his left foot moves in front of the back part of the ruck. It's super close.
Just again to underline, now you are not allowed to put those big breeze blocks forwards between you as the kicker and anyone like Eben Etzebeth who might be looking to charge you down.
Yeah, so he's got a clear run now, so all you've got to do is put an extra person in and make the ruck slightly longer. You know, that's what, 5 kicks now for JVP. None of them have been what he will have wanted.
But that was quite a long ruck, wasn't it? Oh, there we go.
Charging away. He thought about giving it away one-handed. He did in the end to Khaleesi, and South Africa beginning to warm to this test. Williams took it in. Here's Will Golo. Williams. Here's Jasper Wiese. Remember moments like that with fondness. Live up. To escape the clutches of Slade.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
The voice of the teammate White House in the background saying there was a high tackle. So there's nothing comes to this for South Africa. We've got to with the ball. We've got a chance here at the back there. Furthest right. And that is Springboks looking forward. It sounds like to be very close to you anyway, however. Initially, I didn't think it was high, but review TMO was clear. So it's all high. And the freeway. South Africa wanted to put it as close to the qualifiers as they can, and more time I think it went well. It really is back and forward, the muscle. Love that to be bang on the front metre line. 10 out, double the distance. And it's something a little bit more than a drive here. I'm sure they'll be keen to get an early drive in for the Springboks. All year perfecting that. It went over the top to hit Diolende, who was standing there. That was part of the plan. Detroit. Etzebeth waits. Hold on to it long instead. It's the big bustling Slayman. Etzebeth again.
It's against Will Stewart again. Not trying to make amends there. He was part of the big tackle initially, and then he didn't show the referee that he's just made a proper attempt to let go of the ball carrier before he attacked the ball.
Don't come over the rock.
This next Springbok attacking line-out will be 5 metres away.
It's a big shot. Henry Slade goes low. He goes over the top. You can see that right arm still wrapped in and around the ball carrier.
Taken to the front, and Slayman and South Africa trying to wheelbarrow him over. Detroit.
Okay, Vanage offside.
The Orense goes in. England are about to concede a 3rd penalty in quick succession as the pressure comes on. Khaleesi with Lowe not far away. Williams, and then the kick over the top, looking for Colby. Oh, how brilliantly has he done that? Makes something that is not straightforward look very straightforward. The catch, the step, the try.
Just the all-round skill, Nick, and the precision of the skill. He knows that Stewart's coming, and he's coming at pace. He's got 17 stone of power coming straight at him. And what I like is they know they've got the advantage. They don't go again with the forwards. They get it straight out to the backs. OK, it's our turn to have a go. He sees him, and he just leans his right shoulder forward, just encouraging Stewart just to step. Watch Stewart's eyes now. He's watching him. He sees the lean. He goes just a yard the wrong side of him. Brilliant footwork from Cheslin Colby. Again, though, Stewart will look back on that and think, I should have smashed him.
It's the little micro calculations, isn't it? Have I got time to do that? That he's so sharp on his spatial awareness, but as that defender running over, you don't feel like you can go behind someone like Cheslin Colby, and he takes full advantage by stepping backwards himself. He doesn't go towards the line. The step is away from where Stewart's desperately thinking that if he runs onto the ball, I'm going to have to bury him into touch. So he uses that against the defender and just takes a step backwards and then rounds him and goes in as close as he can.
What about the kick from Libbok, though, off his other foot? He's a left-footed kicker predominantly. That was off his right peg. And if you'd have put a little bin over the side there, he landed it right in it.
Well, England might have scored the first try, but South Africa have scored the next three. Williams, Jatoy, Colby. 4 tries in 23 minutes. Jatoy.
Let it come. Let it come. Use it! Last feet.
Good pressure from Itoje. Got his hands to the ball, but didn't quite deflect it enough.
Agree.
South Africa did well to get Etzebeth up in Stewart's eye line.
Libbok stayed down.
Last feet, England.
Ollie Lawrence followed through on the tackle. He's injured his ribs, I think. The South African 10, they're going to have to play without their playmaker.
Okay, neck roll. Got a neck roll.
It's Fassi, the fullback.
15, yeah. Win. Yeah, 15 green, Ben. 15 green. Neck roll.
There's Apollonie Fassi picked out by Ben Whitehouse as Marnie Libbok gets some treatment.
It's late there, doesn't win the collision, and he's got his arm wrapped under Hendry Slade's chin and just twists and roll, and that's exactly what the referees are looking for. Any twisting motion at all, you run the risk.
There's that tackle on Libbok as well. He's asking the question. Here's the pass.
Unless Timo got it there.
There's nothing wrong with that. He's committed, yeah. It's just a good tackle, good strong tackle.
Yeah, it's clearly committed. Clearly committed. Good work, Ben. 10-9! 9! More!
Cunningham South for England. Underhill. Freeman.
No effect.
George Martin steams on to good effect. England within 3 metres. Van Poortvliet just tosses it up for Itoje, who gets given a free ride.
Second time he's jumped in the contact or not had his feet on the floor and been buried backwards. Itoje. Again, England no tip on passes. So South Africa know they just need to muscle up at the moment. Double tackles.
Van Poortvliet, Lawrence. Diolende goes in, has a look. Not there quick enough. Oh, sidestep, but look at that. 1, 2, 3 Springbok defenders on him. Underhill. Angles round, gets to the line. Sam Underhill. He's been gone a while, but doesn't take him long to say hello again.
A couple of good carries in there, the one from George Martin to give them the position. But Underhill, it's about not running directly into that brick wall, just using a bit of a change of angle. Here's that initial carry from Martin. Cunningham South latches onto him to give him that extra leg drive. And then watch the angle here, back against the grain, inside Wilco Low. That's poor defence from Low. Flagging a little bit there, maybe a little bit tired. And he doesn't react to what's in front of him. He never looks up from the ruck to see who's running towards him. Spotted by Underhill, he arcs really well and then has the control with the ball despite the efforts of Libbok. to place it over the line.
And he's back involved because Tom Curry was knocked out in the early collision against Rob Valentini last weekend. Smith's conversion, England with 2 tries.
It's exactly the riposte they needed, isn't it? Really good carry, spotting Libbok as a carrier for George Martin, makes the ground. And then they just have to recycle. I agree with about Itoje. Each time, you look, they're attacking the front row now. All 3 of them not quite up in position.
Saw on that angle, Wilco Low never looked up from the breakdown. His eyes totally focused on the ball, so he had no clue who was attacking in front of him.
All good. That's the third.
Lawrence very nearly got there, Austin, sorry.
It's the third restart in the row, Nick, that we haven't taken. It was the undoing against Australia right at the end. Got to take the restarts.
Yeah. Push back.
And now you've got to kick a box kick without getting charged down.
Use it.
And adding extra bodies, a little white caterpillar with Jamie George at the end of it, but again it's not quick enough. Etzebeth's there. England just have to be quicker getting those box kicks away. And here's Slade meantime, Slightholme, the ball in the end bouncing their way. Slightholme and Lawrence will chase.
Really good kick from Slightholme. He didn't have a lot of space there. Perfect decision. But
these kicks though, Austin.
Well, the box kick again, I'd like to see how close he is, Etzebeth. Is he offside again? Yeah, I think he goes a little bit early again.
I think he does on that one. I didn't on the first one.
You see, you asked me, Nick, before, what you do. JVP hasn't played for England for a while. He's had a long-term injury, but watch his hands. You're not allowed to dummy. He's offside there. But you're not allowed to dummy from the base. But what you can do is you can just move your head slightly, or you move a shoulder. You change your body shape. So he sets off and then he has to go back. At the minute, he's given all the advantage to the charge down.
Coming in south for England. And again, find themselves in a handy position. Smith, Lawrence. Once again wearing his favourite 13 shirt, bit more space to operate in tonight. Smith to Underhill, who's really dirtying his hands early on. Itoje. Beyond Martin to George. Smith, that's nicely done. Slade. Oh, and Lawrence just couldn't bring the ball to heel.
Just wouldn't stick for him, what would it? Nice hands, first time England's forward to use that tip on ball, Jamie George. And then it's about controlling their feet, standing still so they can pick off those numbers and get it through the hands as quickly as possible, but the last pass wouldn't stick.
It's just to talk about the pressure on Van Poortvliet and to talk about the principle. The scrum half can have his hands on the ball and Etzebeth has to stay where he is. But the minute you lift the ball, Etzebeth can then launch from behind the rearmost foot.
Exactly, Nick. I'm glad you asked me to explain it and then explained it yourself. But yeah, that's exactly right. The moment it comes off the ground, then he can advance. He has to be behind the backmost point of the ruck, which is the last person, either his player or one of the England players.
The message I've got is once you roll it, it's out. So that's what he's going on the trigger once you roll it with your hand, you know what I mean? And it's to the side anyway, Jack.
TMO just feeding in that the reason he doesn't think it's offside is because Van Poortvliet rolled it behind the back foot, or England's back foot, so the ball was out.
So, just really sharp on those pillars. That's what we have to stay on now.
Do we like that law trial?
I think it's great. Well, that's for a better contest. It stops people from obstructing in front. As a kicker, you know it's coming, so you've just got to practice more, be faster. Or as we saw, sorry Nick, as we saw, last night, Argentina hardly box kick. They pass back, which I think is a terrible tactic. You can pass flat and kick, but some sides are going to have to look at not box kicking as much now because of it.
Point!
Let's see how South Africa deal with this, how Grant Williams deals with this. Jasper Wiese, the number 8 at the tail of the scrum. That makes life easier.
1 point.
Ellis Genge really attacking Wilco Low there. That's probably why the decision goes against him, because Low's shoulders are down just as much as Genge's, but I think if you just have a look at Ellis Genge here, he's definitely the aggressor, trying to make sure South Africa can't settle. Maybe gets a little bit too long in his legs and he can't balance, so as Wilco Low just eases him down slightly, Ellis Genge doesn't have his feet under his hips at all, or under his knees even.
Not too big.
His knees under his hips, and he just folds, and it's probably Ellis Genge whose head touches the floor first.
That's a bit. He played more for the Springboks. Here goes Williams again. He's done this already. And he very nearly did it again until Tommy Freeman decided that he'd had enough watching that picture.
What a turnover from Underhill. Great tackle from Freeman, and Underhill straight in on the ball, gets it back to his side.
Itoje
Move, Seven.
takes on Detroit.
And
here we go
use
again.
it.
Same scenario. Extra
Yes,
leg
on,
this
then.
time. Is he going to keep it inside the foot? Yes, he does.
Leave it.
Taken by a flying fullback, but not cleanly.
Knock on.
Apololi Fassi.
And they'll get the choice of line out or scrum.
It's one of those exciting players. He's really put his hand up post-World Cup, Apololi Fassi. He's been around for a while, but without ever really nailing down the shirt. Willy Leroux, of course, has been there for a long time. 98 caps now for Leroux. But a feeling back in South Africa that this is an evening that'll go some way to telling us if he is Leroux's long-term successor, if he's ready for the big league, as Rassie Erasmus calls it.
Well, I suppose the last time a lot of people have seen him not in a Bokke shirt is the Champions Cup final, where he was sensational.
Insert good.
Showing a little bit of hip movement of his own. Van Portfleet, Smith, again the kick from Smith. Libbock touched it. Creel underneath it for South Africa, but England's two centres, Lawrence and Slade, both there quickly. There's Fassi.
South Africa. Hold on.
Space here. If he can draw and pass, he's got Etzebeth one-on-one with Freeman.
He shaped a kick and then did employ Freeman. He's gone around the outside to find Earl. Underhill was up in support. Earl took it on an extra couple of paces. Genge, Smith, England opening up here. Runs into Fassi. Van Portfleet, Lawrence with the kick.
Far too deep. England will get the goal line dropout. Kick back to them, but maybe a slight missed opportunity there. Lovely hands to put Marcus Smith through the gap.
Here's the draw. Look, he's spotted. It's a one-on-one. He's given the ball early. Good decision. As a winger, you've got to do better against Etzebeth, but he's not the worst defender in the world, and his arms are very long. And as they recycle now, lovely ball out the back. And then this is what we know has become his trademark. Left foot step, accelerate across in the cover. That's a good hit.
Does really well, Fassi, there, not to hit too high. When an opponent, and you're racing one way, steps back on your inside shoulder, that's when we tend to get those head collisions, head on head.
No, just blood.
Oxen Che is heading off. We're being told it's for blood. That does not look like a blood injury. That looks like he's got blood coming from his knee, but the knee doesn't look like it's working properly either, does it? So we wonder whether Sheko Faditswe, commonly known as Oxen Che, will come back on. In the meantime, here is Gerard Steenekamp, the Bulls prop. If you imagine in your mind what a South African prop would look like, there he is. 134 kilograms, a metre 94, 21 stones and 6'4".
Come on.
South Africa's scrum coach, Dan Human, says he is the perfect shape to look after a scrum, and he's with us now.
Yeah, advantage, knock on. Play the
Smith,
advantage.
not the perfect shape to do what he does here. We're on the show from fly half. Much too close, however, to Cheslin Colby. Colby, one of those who had the weekend off in Edinburgh to call his engines, but he's back here in London. Smith, and that bounce into touch.
Some kick. Again, tight angle. No banana this time, just puts it right down the channel.
Five.
England shortening the line out. They've got Ben Earl standing in midfield, so expect him to get the ball if they can win it cleanly. Goodness me, they were lucky, England, there with Underhill.
Very lucky, yeah, missed call. Someone got that wrong. I think it was probably the middle lifter who didn't turn and lift George Martin, who's coming forward.
Once again, lovely little battle between Etzebeth and Van Portfleet. Williams Bit of spade work. Bongi Mbanambi thuds into Martin and Genge. Fassi. It's an interesting kick. That is a real test for Stewart.
Hold is out.
This ball swept up by Genge. He's got Will Stewart up in support.
Ball is there. Don't hold him in. Last feet.
Smith. This is meant for slight home. Early try put England ahead.
Yeah.
And Slade worked so hard to win that ball back, but knew that he couldn't pick it up from the position that he was in. Here is Steenekamp. Libbok. Up towards the dark London skies, and once again, both hands above his head, and Stewart off he goes. Freeman to the right. Where's this ball bouncing? Freeman chasing. Needs one more happy bounce. And it wasn't a happy bounce, but how close?
Brilliant from Stewart. Takes the ball above his head, rides the first tackle, then accelerates through the gap in a lovely little chip. Just needs the ball to kick to the left a little bit.
Two good catches. His first one, watch how he shapes his body to make sure, because that chasing player doesn't need to catch it, he just needs to get a hand on it, but he shapes his body to ensure that you can't get. This time he goes above his head, gets in front of the catcher, but really interesting tactic to almost own the space under the ball, let the ball drop behind him so that that chasing player can't get his hand to it.
Excellent ball. Excellent ball, boys.
As Freddie Stewart, part of that rejuvenated Leicester side this season under Michael Cheika. Stewart back in love with rugby again. Jack Van Poortvliet back in love with rugby again. The work of an Australian, Michael Cheika, up at Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, doing the job. You do feel for George Furbank, because what Furbank offers in an attacking threat we all know about from his time with Saints and with England, but the game's shifting a little bit, as you've said, Oz.
I still think there's space for him in this team, though. I think you can play them both together. You could play Stewart on the wing, Furbank, because Furbank gives you that second fly half element. I think the thing that keeps Furbank out of the team is probably the fact that Slade is such a favourite of Steve Borthwick. If he wasn't, you'd have Furbank in there every day of the week as that second distributor. But often when the team's not going well, someone gets jettisoned. What about Ben Spencer? What did he do wrong? He left the field twice, they were in the lead twice, he's not been picked, not in the squad. That would have been an interesting conversation, wouldn't it? Well done, you had the lead for us, but by the way, don't come down next week. What a feel for the lad.
Massive job for Ellis Genge at this scrum here now, because you know that all that pressure is going to come from Wilco Low to try and push Sia Khaleesi up. He can't afford to give away a penalty here, Genge, so he can't attack too hard, but he's desperate to get Underhill. And the pressure on the base of the scrum as Visa looks to pick. England want Underhill to be stood there.
Discipline on bind. Let's go. Discipline on bind face.
Three bearded Englishmen bracing themselves. Yeah.
Like the ZZ Top of English rugby.
Seconds.
Let's see if there's a tagline at the end of it.
Williams will probably just leave it with Visa. See if his front row feel like they've got the upper hand. That's cheap, isn't it? Really easy get out. All the pressure on South Africa and their delivery at the back of the scrum.
Okay, on the set, all down. Yeah.
All three penalised for England as they fold in.
Wilco Low playing not so long ago across the road, across the A316 for Harlequins. He won a premiership final here, the Springboks.
Better discipline on set.
Tight head tonight.
Ben, do you think most of the chat this week at Pennyhill Park about the scrums has been, let's get low, let's get really, really low? Because every scrum I've seen so far, that English front row has gone particularly low. And sometimes if you lose the hit and you try and go low, you end up folding like we just saw then.
Yeah, well, the penalty before we mentioned, Ellis Genge had his feet a long way back. Sometimes when you're trying to get in that low position, you have to put your studs a little bit further back, which means you're a bit more unbalanced. But I think a lot of England would have been trying to get the ball in and out as quickly as possible.
Lawrence did well not to challenge for that ball. He knew he'd been beaten by it, and his mates did the work instead.
First man, strong over the ball.
Jasper Wiese folds himself off the ground.
We know from his time in the Premiership what a lethal ball carrier is, but any Leicester fan will tell you how good he is as a jackler. If he latches on an immovable force, and England fall through in the air, Freeman lands with Sia Khaleesi, and you can see the accuracy of Wiese. He knows Khaleesi's got the tackle, he knows he doesn't have to put his hands on, he can just wait and win that battle of the shoulders, knowing that there aren't going to be any white shirts looped round and behind Freeman to be able to clear him out.
That's another still November evening here in southwest London, and Marnie Libbert looks up at the post and says, yeah, I've got this, let's see. Shot clock counts down as we creep into the 40th minute of an eventful first half. It's going to come round, and it doesn't. No issue with the distance, and Slade says you can start again with a throw-in.
Good gap, please.
It's the season when Sasha Feinberg-Ngomazulu has really caught our eye over the course of the last 4, 5, 6 months, but it is Libbok again tonight and Andre Pollard.
England defending with Underhill and Earl as their first defenders off the back.
Steph Toy to Khaleesi, and now Wiese. Top ball carrier in the Rugby Championship, to absolutely nobody's surprise in the northern or southern hemisphere. He was doing it again just then. Etzebeth. Oh! That is not something you see very often. Cannonballing off his titanium-crusted chest.
Okay, last feet. Yeah, that's time.
Time up. And England will head in and contemplate a first half that might have been worse. Ollie Slightholme gave them a brilliant start, but Grant Williams, Peter Steph Toy and Cheslin Colby gave the box control until Sam Underhill angled his way, burrowed his way over the try line, and England at half-time trailed by 2, but that was good fun. Half-time at the Allianz Stadium at Twickenham, England 17, South Africa 19.